Hi, Ryan.
Hi, Lisa. So, hi, everyone. I'm here with Lisa, who's the coordinator of the accounting program here at SLC. And I'm Ryan. I just finished my second year in the BBA program, and I'm the student engagement assistant for the BBA program this summer. So, if you'd like to give us a brief introduction about your program, and that would be great.
Great, yeah. So, hi, everyone. I'm Lisa KJ, and I'm the program coordinator for the accounting programs, both in Kingston and Cornwall. And I'm actually an alumni, an SLC alumni myself of the accounting program. So, I know where many of you probably find yourselves, in first semester, just trying to figure out where to go and so forth. And so, yeah, what I can do is maybe share a little bit about how the accounting programs are structured, and then a little bit about, what it is like to maybe work in accounting, and then we can go from there. So, as with most of the what we call business core diploma programs, we have two options. You can either do a 2-year diploma or a 3-year diploma. Oftentimes I get asked, well, what's the difference between a 2 and a 3-year diploma? And so the key differences are, of course, the length. One's 2 versus 3. But at this point, it really doesn't matter which program you choose, because the first 2 years are common anyhow. So you'll be in classes with students who are going to graduate after 2 or 3 years. So if you're not sure if you want to stay for 2 or 3, you can really make that decision down the road. If you're not sure, that's fine. You can just, kind of take it as it comes kind of thing. Sometimes we even get students graduating after 2 years, and then they decide that they want to essentially tag on the 3rd year. So, so you definitely have some time there if you're not sure in terms of the length of your studies. The other two key differences between the two diploma pathways are that if you stay here for 3 years, of course, you get that extra year of currency. You get an advanced diploma. You get, more accounting knowledge. So that definitely looks better on a resume to say that you have an advanced diploma. And then you also get a placement in 3rd year, which you don't get that field placement in the 2-year program. So our placement is in 3rd year, which is great work experience in the field, which you can show on your resume so that, as you go to apply for jobs, you can show that to your employers so that you have some experience from the field kind of thing. I maybe should point out as well, as I'm thinking, you're taking Accounting 20 right now, the Accounting Fundamentals course in semester 1. And so maybe you're trying to kind of think about, well, would accounting be for me? You're going to have an HR and a marketing course later in 1st year. And I think as you're trying to figure out what program to choose, if you're torn, just follow your gut instinct. Sometimes it's so difficult to make a decision. So if all fails, follow your gut instinct. And I find that oftentimes at the college, we treat these programs as like very separate silos, but really once you go out and work, you'll be, you'll be working together with the 3 disciplines in synergy most likely, and you might be actually doing some HR tasks and some marketing tasks as well. So maybe to give you an example, or to share a little bit also about my career pathway. So like I said, I am an alumni, an SLC alumni, as well as are actually many of our accounting faculty. And I, went to work in accounting. I had different accounting roles in industry, and I pursued, further education. I pursued my university degree. I did that through correspondence studies, as well as my professional accounting designation. And then later I did an MBA as well. So that's kind of the nice thing about education is, you can kind of take these credentials and piecemeal almost. If you find yourself at a certain point in your career where you're thinking, oh, I maybe need an extra credential in order to, go higher in my job, let's say, then, you can always get an extra credential down the road kind of thing. So it's always great to have goals, but just kind of take it one step at a time as well. And, you've got lots of time to collect degrees or whatever down the road as well. And for example, in one of my roles, I worked with startups. And so oftentimes we just worked like with the entire business team. So as accountant, you have to work with your marketing team to figure out, well, how do you bring your product to market? How do you structure it? And you work with your human resources staff as well to maybe plan your staffing budget and just to also figure out what your employees need to keep them motivated and stuff like that. So, if you think, if I'm going to pick accounting, but I also like, let's say, HR, then I'm just, never ever going to see HR again down the road. That's not the case, because in the real world, the disciplines, they're so fluid, we all work together kind of thing. So what I think it's cool about accounting or choosing that pathway is once one of my colleagues, a former colleague, told me they were not in accounting, they were actually in kind of a marketing person. And they said, geez, I don't understand anything about accounting. It's like that black box that nobody understands in business. But so, there's job security or employability for you if you're considering accounting. Well, that's actually a good niche to have, to maybe, go to school and understand what all this accounting gobbledygook is, so that you can maybe read financial statements and explain to somebody who doesn't know accounting, the health of a business, for example. So, oftentimes people say, oh, accounting, it's all about numbers and math. And it's that in a way, but it's also about learning the language of accounting and what all of this, like I said, gobbledygook means. And you can actually, what I find is cool is, you can make a difference when you're out there working and help others who don't have that expertise or that knowledge, and being able to explain all this stuff, all this financial stuff, to people who don't have that background. So it can actually be quite fulfilling. So if right now, you're in semester 1, you're taking accounting 20, it's all about debits and the credits and the accounting cycle and all of that. Sometimes people say boring stuff. It's not, accounting is not all just that. So don't be discouraged. Of course, those accounting fundamentals are the bare bones. They're super important, and that's really important to know that. But accounting, as you get into it, it gets more interesting, I think, because you can get into, let's say, making recommendations even to businesses in terms of what they can do financially to maybe save costs, make the business more successful, how they get into new markets, creating a financial plan on that. So definitely very versatile. And I guess on there as well, you can pretty much work anywhere. That's the cool thing. Every business, every person really has to manage money somehow. So you can really work in any business, any industry that you want. We have students maybe branching out and getting like into the insurance industry or the banking industry. We have grads who end up going to work for an accounting firm where, that's a firm that we call a public accounting firm that provides accounting services to businesses out there that maybe don't have accounting staff, on their payroll themselves. Or you can go and work for any business and work in their kind of accounting or finance department. So we have grads who work for the government, maybe for Corrections Canada, doing finances there. We have grads who work, let's say, for a car dealership, doing finances there. So yeah, you can really go and work anywhere in any industry, which is kind of nice. And to share another example, even me myself, in my career pathway. So I mentioned that I worked with startups a lot, and then at some point when I switched positions, I actually ended up working at Queen's University for the Department of Housing and Ancillary Services. And so there I managed the finances for a Queen's department that deals with all of the student housing. So the residences, the food services on campus, the cafeterias, catering, all of that kind of thing. So again, you've got the key skill set being the accounting knowledge that you know from your education, but you can transfer that to whatever industry. So I worked in like research and startups, and then I switched, took all my accounting skills, and I kind of went into like the hospitality industry kind of thing. So I find that's quite interesting in that the sky's the limit in terms of where you can go and work, really.
No, that's awesome. Like, I love how you talked about how just because you go into accounting, it doesn't necessarily mean like, oh, I'll never see HR again, because it is a big decision for someone to specialize into a program. So on that topic, I know you talked about some industries that people work for, like including the government. You were talking about in other areas. For a student that's coming in now, like, what advice would you give them? Just coming in as like a first year student who's kind of scared of the whole process, or maybe just isn't fully know exactly what they're going to pick, because that was me at one point. So
yeah, no, that's a great question. And I think just keep those gears going, keep asking questions to your faculty. You can reach out to me. I'm always happy to sit down and chat if people want to learn more about accounting. Sometimes if people are interested in like a specific industry, let's say, I might be able to find a grad who works there who might be up for a chat kind of thing, almost like a mentorship kind of thing. Keep your eyes open in terms of events that we put on here as part of the School of Business. We usually do have information sessions that we put on usually once a semester, for example, on accounting pathways. So I usually have an information session that I put on where we bring in the Chartered Professional Accountants of Ontario to talk about the accounting designation and the accounting profession in general. We usually bring in guest speakers as well, so kind of networking event, those types of things as well. So there's definitely some, I guess we call them co-curricular events that we put on as part of the School of Business. And I know everybody's so busy, so sometimes it's like cost versus benefit trade-off, but sometimes it's those kinds of connections or conversations that actually can open a door or, spark an interest or make that connection and kind of keep things going from there on out. Some of the other, groups and clubs that we have here on campus are really helpful too. For example, there's the Enactus team. That's really helpful to get involved in that, or the Student Association. There's some really good positions there too. So just keep an eye out for what the college has to offer, and even of course some of the bursary jobs or part-time jobs that you can get into. If people are interested in pursuing accounting, we have through the accounting program, we have a Facebook group and a LinkedIn group for accounting students and grads that people can become a member of, and we share some information through those pathways as well in terms of things that are happening, or also that Career Services puts on. And other than that, I think just keep asking questions or do research. Do research. Maybe if you see different companies out there, I don't know, sometimes I'm driving and I see trucks going by of different companies. I'm like, oh, what does that company do? Let's Google them kind of thing. So yeah, just keep being curious and asking questions, and those connections. I think the networking, it's sometimes a scary term, but just those conversations can be really helpful in terms of just getting to know people and expanding your network, because you never know, through those, sometimes it's a small world, and through those connections is sometimes where you get opportunities or you just learn stuff.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. Networking is definitely like a huge thing. Like I'm a graduate of the diploma program, the general diploma program, but I remember after that, I still wanted to pursue education, and I had no idea until I started talking with people I already knew, a part of the business faculty, and then I ended up enrolling into the BBA program after my diploma. But yeah, networking is definitely like a great thing, and I think that like first year students should always like reach out to other students, other staff. It's always helpful, and it always helps the students learn and grow. And I think that's awesome that you added that.
Yeah, and I mean, in semester one, sometimes it can be overwhelming if you're just starting out with your college career. So, don't put yourself under too much pressure. Sometimes it's nice to just kind of settle in, kind of figure out your routine. But yeah, maybe once you kind of get comfortable into your academic routine, then adding in some of these other activities, or even just volunteering. I'm always looking for volunteers. We have an accounting competition that we usually run around late January. So even just volunteering, that's usually a kind of a safe environment too, or helping out with open house and things like that too, just to get to know staff or faculty and grads as well.
I think that's awesome. I have one more question for you. I don't want to take too much of your time, but I was wondering, so say I am a student and I'm finding accounting very interesting. I like the accounting courses. How easy is it, say, if I'm in business already, but I'm in general for say, and I wanted to do accounting for the next year or the next semester? How would that transition look like?
Oh, that's a great question as well. Yeah, so that's super easy, because your first year is the same regardless of whether you're in human resources, marketing, accounting, or general business. So let's say, to go with your example, if you're enrolled in general business right now, but you'd like to switch into the accounting program, that's super easy to do. Probably the best thing to go through that process is to just email me at lisakj@sl.on.ca, and then I can just send you, we have a little website link where you can just go online and fill out a web form to switch from one business program to the other, and that's all that you have to do. So, and you can do that until the end of your first year, really, because it's only once you enter second year or semester 3 where then you're going to have the specializations in each program. So you definitely have time to switch until the end of year 1. That's super easy to do.
Okay, that's awesome. Relief for the students for sure, and definitely something just so much better than going through a whole process of redoing 1 year. So that's really awesome that in first year it's pretty general anyways, so then you have some time to think about it and go from there.
Exactly, yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to add or tell the students or anything?
I think that's it. I don't want to take too much of their time either. But yeah, I'm always happy to help. That's what I'm here for. So if you have any follow-up questions, feel free to reach out to me. Usually email is the best way to reach most of us. So yeah, my short email is lisakj@sl.on.ca.
Yeah, I'll plug that in too.
Perfect.
Thank you so much, Lisa, for taking your time to come here. I really appreciate you coming here for the interview. And I love the advice you gave to all the students. And it's good to get a refresher even for me, like telling my brother who's coming he's coming into one of the programs, possibly at SLC or some other schools, but it's important that everyone knows what's going on here in the program of accounting. So I really appreciate you taking your time to come here and do this interview. Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks for having me.
And thank you everyone for joining us here on this interview. And I'll plug in Lisa's socials and contact info. So if you need to contact her, it'll be there. Thank you.
Bye.